To be very honest, China has not been silent. Right from the very first time, China has been very active in the Middle East. Remember, the long-running rivalry between Saudi Arabia and Iran was resolved in Beijing. It was resolved in Beijing. I think that's one of the most fears of the United States, that China influence in the Middle East is growing. The long-running rival, which was almost a mutual suspicion that could have led to anything between Saudi Arabia and Iran, was resolved in Beijing. And right from the time this problem started, China has been one of using its position in the United States, in the United Nations, to advance. It has consistently called for a ceasefire. Of course, like you know, it is the United States that has always vetoed every resolution relating to ceasefire, relating to stopping the war, relating to stopping the killing. And China has been in the forefront of several initiatives at the United Nations calling for the end of the war. And beside that, China has been a net donor of humanitarian support. China was one of the first countries to stop its ships from coming to the ports, Haifa ports in Israel, immediately after the war, as part of its commitment to pressure Israel to stop the war. So China has been a strong voice. It is only the United States has been Israeli enabler, and the West in general has been Israeli enabler. It's only recently that most countries in Europe have started to make the afterthought move to recognize the Palestinian state. Like you know, China has recognized Palestinian state, and Palestine has a functional embassy in Beijing. So China has been very, very supportive of UN Resolution 242 calling for a two-state solution and has made meaningful contribution. In fact, even during the conflict between PLO and Hamas, China has hosted a number of meetings in Beijing to bridge the gap between the Palestinian factions and supporting them to find a common ground. So China has not been silent. It's been very active. The point is that the country with the most influence in the region, United States, has decided to be in collusion with the Zionist clique, with the criminal faction of the Netanyahu regime in those murdering spree. I do not even consider what is happening in Gaza a war. In my view, Israel is in a murdering spree. You can't be at war with an entity that has no formal state. There is no military barrack to bomb. There is no strategic military site to bomb. You are bombing mosques, bombing churches, bombing market square, bombing camps, bombing schools. This is not, in my view, the act of an army. I consider the IDF a thuggish clique because I don't consider what is war. We are fighting war with a formal army, navy, air force, and the army barracks. You can see where the plane hangar. You can see military barracks. There is none in Gaza. There's none in Gaza. What you have in Gaza is hospitals. What Israel are bombing in Gaza is hospitals, it's schools, it's markets, it's the refugee camps, it's humanitarian organizations. So, whom are you fighting a war? Like Iran, like in the case of Russia and Russia, we say we target their oil facility, we target their energy facility, we target their military production unit. There is no such thing in Gaza. Gaza has no ammunition dump. It has no military barrack. It has no air force facility. It has no navy. So whom are you really at war with? This is the question that people have not simply asked. They talk about war in Gaza. With who? With women and children and elderly, infirmed. So these are some of the challenges. But I can tell you that China has not been a passive onlooker. It's been active in trying to bring an end to the war. There is only one power that could call Israel to order. Ironically, that power has been more enabling than restraining of Israeli aggression in Gaza. That's United States, of course. That's United States. It's been more enabling of the crime in Gaza than constraining Israel in its all-out murdering spree. I see it as murdering spree. You are just on a murdering spree, because if you're at war, you should be confronting an army tank for tank. We should be, just like we see in Ukraine, Russia destroyed their tanks. Sometimes they destroy Russia's own. The army is there, the army is there. But in this case, there's no army.